Welcome on into episode 3 of TECspertZ, the hottest ECU football podcast that you can get to. Welcome back. We are the crew, the TECspertZ crew. Once again, I am Sean Rocca, sports director of WZMB.
I'm Nick Green, DJ WZMB.
Jarrett, work at WZMB.
Nick Bailey, sports editor at the East Carolinian.
Trevon McGlone, reporter at the East Carolinian.
And so finally we have some good things to talk about today. 44-0.
Yes.
The Pirates came away with the win. We'll get into the details, but we have a quick update from our sponsor. TECspertZ is a collaboration between the East Carolinian and WZMB 91.3. And we want to thank you. We want to thank the Big Vape Theory for sponsoring today's podcast. All right, guys, as I just said, 44-0. Finally got a win. You know, feels good. We're 1-3 going into conference play. What are our biggest takeaways from last week's game?
Defensively, we look great. I mean, once again, 5 turnovers, 5 fumbles anyway. We didn't get a pick, but we had 5 fumbles. That's something that, I mean, defensively, we still look about the exact same we've done all year. Yeah, it was a little bit of a weaker opponent than App State, Marshall, and Michigan, but we came to play on Saturday. Let's keep it real. We came to play. We took care of business, and we did what we had to do. Order come up 44-0. That was a big statement win for ECU. You know Mike Houston's proud of that one. You know that's just what the guys needed in the locker room.
Yeah, it was a perfect game for us, perfect situation. All we needed to do was play defense and run the ball. Weather was perfect for that type of day, and we damn sure did it.
Yeah, we definitely did. For those who weren't aware, we had a lot of flooding. There were parking lots that were full of water.
Yes.
Rivers were overflowing. So it was not pretty weather.
Yeah. Student lot was
in
an ocean.
Yeah, it was.
You had to walk through knee-deep water in order to get to the stadium. So
And we did it.
yes,
we did. We
still had
showed
a
up.
lot of Pirate fans out there. You know, family weekend. It was great to see everybody still out there, even at the game. Especially the first half. The seats were pretty filled. Yeah.
They were, and you know, especially like even in the boneyard, like there was it was pretty packed. You know, especially the first half. Second half is ECU tradition that people tend to leave.
But
second half, but first half was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Hey, it's good to leave that because we were winning. So we weren't losing 44-0.
Right. But no, but this was a big game, and you know, like we can't blow it out of proportion. You know, like this was Gardner-Webb, Division II opponent, but getting that first win in such a dominant fashion. That's important to me. That's such a big confidence booster for the guys. Coming into Rice, going to be a tough opponent on the road. I think this win is big for us.
It is. You definitely want to, especially getting a couple things going, especially trying to see like how things would be changing play calling, especially after we started, 0-2, 0-3-ish, right? Trying to find a way to get a couple of things going with the run game. They ran for over 200 yards. That was great. Didn't have to have the ball in Flynn's hands all game. Garcia looked okay for some of the run games that he came in to do. I was actually kind of surprised that he got the start in the second half, but he did well with it. Didn't turn the ball over, and we did pretty much everything that they asked for, and I'm proud of them. They worked hard.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, first game of this season with both of our quarterbacks don't throw an interception. That's huge. That's a huge step going forward. Like you said, it's only Gardner-Webb, but both quarterbacks got to play equal minutes basically and go in and show what they can do. Lead an offense that was basically run heavy all day because of the weather, and the running back room proves to be once again our strongest group on the team. 3 different running backs, including also Mason Garcia, quarterback, got touchdowns this week on the ground. So that proved to once again be our strong point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely a very running-heavy team.
Yeah.
And I think that's no surprise to anybody, especially with the 2 quarterbacks we've been trying to find out.
Yeah.
But I think that, as we look forward to Rice, a very good offensive team, 12th in terms of passing yards per game.
Yeah.
But, their defense is susceptible. Right, their defense is not very good. They give up a lot of points, and so looking
almost
forward,
40 per game.
Exactly, almost 40 per game. So looking forward, I think if we can utilize the run, but not ignore the pass, that's going to be our success in Texas.
I say once we can build the run game, honestly, play action is going to be our biggest threat. If we can build the running game early enough in order to build a good play action game, and I mean Mason Garcia does good. Mason Garcia. I'll give him credit. He does good when it comes to read options, and I don't hate Mason Garcia in when it's a design run play. Yeah. But I think overall, when it comes to the passing game, I think Alex Flynn just does a better job at moving the ball down the field and through the air. Now, that's why I can kind of understand why we're doing the 2 QB system. I don't love it, but I can kind of understand why we're doing it a little bit here. But when we're going into Rice, like you said, Rice has a very good passing game. Reminds me a lot of what App State does offensively when they can just I mean, App State's quarterback, Joey Aguilera, he is just fantastic through the air. He looked great. It reminds me a lot of Rice's quarterback, too. They're both really good, and I think it's one of those things that, like, we're going to have to slow them down offensively, much like we said with App State, and we're going to have to do a better, basically have a similar game plan, but do a better job at executing that game plan.
Before anybody else says anything, this isn't anything smart or analytical or anything, but JT Daniels sucks. He's been on 4 teams in 6 years. He's older than all of us. I mean, being older than all of us is not that big of a deal, but most of us are seniors. Most of us are almost graduating. And, I mean, 4 teams in 6 years.
And he's what, 26?
Yeah,
25?
Everybody clowned on Stetson Bennett, but he's still around.
Yeah.
Well, Stetson Bennett stinks too. Not being serious or smart or anything. It's just something funny. But yeah, they all stink.
He has the experience. I mean, being there in Georgia, 2 years. But I think their defense is where we have to strike at. It's going to have to be a high scoring game. I feel like with how much points that their defense allows.
I think our defense is going to be pretty good, too. Our pass rush is going to, I feel like, be able to get to the quarterback. The only question is, can our defensive backs help out a little bit?
All right, and I was going to say that's going to be definitely a test for them, especially with how high scoring and potent that offense of Rice is. And to our credit, we have praised, like in previous episodes of praising our secondary for getting turnovers sometimes with interceptions, right? This is going to be a moment where they get a stop in a game. It might be close. I don't know what the score might be, but it could be as close as 7, and we find a way to turn it over downs at the last second of the game. It's really important that they get this experience and test, especially after coming off that dominant win against, like we know, is Gardner-Webb. It's an FCS school, but if you can get stops constantly, that we've seen them get turnovers constantly, show everything that we've seen, show the nation, because we know that what our cornerbacks and safeties are capable of.
No, absolutely. And with this Rice team, they're coming off their first American loss last week against South Florida. So they're already kind of, they're looking for their first win, as are we. But, this is our first conference game. They've had a taste of American play. We're going to have our first taste here, in Houston against Rice, who are the Owls, which I have to root for an owl. That's my thing. I mean, like, I see you right there. Nice.
Who's an owl?
I feel like if a pirate and an owl actually got into a fight, I feel like a pirate would.
They have a sword.
For sure. They got a sword. And like a little parrot, like ally almost. You know what I mean?
I mean, just let's talk about weaponry. I mean, what do we? Oh, we got bird. Like, I have a gun. Yeah, I have a boat. Like,
no, but in all seriousness, I think in terms of this game, I think I want to see still consistency on offense. We put up 44, which is great, but I still want to see some consistency. And so my question to you guys: we saw both Flynn and Garcia basically split the snaps almost evenly. So who do you think is going to come out as the starter? I anticipate Flynn, but do you guys think anything different?
I don't think there will be a definite starter at almost any point this season. I believe unless one quarterback comes in and just completely takes over, has a flawless game, I think it'll be pretty even throughout most of the season. As far as this game goes, I think Alex Flynn will get a start just because he started this past game, and I think, they're still a little shaky on Mason. They know he has potential, but I think, like you said, Nick, Alex just looks more like polished and more like commanding out there to run the offense. So that's what I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think so too, and that we probably will have 2 quarterbacks for the rest of the year, and I'm not a big fan of that. We talked about it a little bit last time that when you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 0. We look good last week, but we're going to face a better opponent this week. So I want Flynn to come out, and I want to see a drive like the first drive in App State. That was a great first drive in Boone. So if we can do that, come out, make a statement in Rice, I think that's big. Kind of get the lead first, get the momentum first. That's going to be big for us.
Also, other drives after that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be just like the App State game. But I do agree with you. I think Flynn gets to start, but at this point, nobody's proven anything. They both look the exact same, in my opinion. So, I mean, I don't even care anymore. Just play them, play one of them. It's been so exhausting only through 4 weeks. Who cares at this point?
Well, one thing that we did really well against Gardner-Webb that I think we have to kind of emphasize more, because we all said it the little bit the past 2 episodes. We finally finished a ball game.
Right.
We finally actually finished a ball game in the 4th quarter. And that's another key we're going to have to go into with Rice, with the first conference opponent we're going to have. We have to finish the ball game. It doesn't matter if we're in the game in the 3rd quarter. Honestly, a lot of us are going to be probably scared going into that 4th quarter. Yeah. If it's even remotely close, just because of our tendency to be like, we're probably going to give this.
I'll have PTSD from App State.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to finish this ball game because I can imagine Rice is going to play us close. I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any means. I think this is going to be a very close game. Yeah. So we have to finish the ball game when it comes to the fourth quarter.
Definitely. No, you're absolutely right. This will be a close game. I think Rice is favored by 3.5.
Yeah.
Last I checked.
Juicy line.
Yeah, I mean, but this will be a close game. ECU will not win by 10 or 17. No. Rice won't do the same way. But this will be a 7-10 point game, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's going into American play, like you said. I think it's a good time to make some noise, for the conference. With all the people that just all the teams that just joined. If we win this game, it says to other people, hey, look, we play 3 kind of tough games to start out, but for the conference, we can still win a lot of these games in this conference play, which can turn our whole season around. Honestly,
It absolutely can. A good win to start American play, that can be kind of the momentum setter that we need. Yeah. And one thing I'd also like to see is kind of a lead receiver almost step up, because we've seen a lot of the running game. We know about Rajay Harris and about Mason, who's leading in rushing, which I'm still not a huge fan of. But no, I'm still waiting for kind of like our primary receiver to step up. I'm kind of waiting for that guy who's going to be like, who's our best target? 3rd and 5, we need to get 5 yards. Who's our guy we're going to go to? I'm still waiting for that guy to kind of emerge.
I don't feel like we're going to see that guy if we continue to play 2 quarterbacks, because there's not going to be any chemistry built, because they're not going to give it a chance to grow and develop around one guy.
Exactly.
So it's just going to be like, oh, you got something going, who cares? Put in the other guy. I don't feel like we're going to be able to see.
I think we'll know the couple good solid guys, but like you said, I don't believe we'll know the true number 1 X wide receiver because of the switching.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And see, that's why I think we should just stick with 1 quarterback. I mean, I think we just need to make a decision, whether it's right or wrong. Just have one guy lead the team, so we can get some consistency, get some good drives going, and have these guys build some chemistry. Because with the 2 quarterbacks, it's hard to kind of get into that flow, that rhythm that you have with 1 quarterback.
And I agree in terms of letting whichever quarterback they decide to go with, finding one and then letting him just run the offense to get that consistency with guys like Johnson, guys like Sewell, right? Especially when we saw Flynn doing a couple passes. First 2 passes were to Sewell, I believe, against Gardner-Webb. But I don't hate the idea, if it were to be Flynn, to start out the rest of the games, right? And having Garcia in packages to run near the goal line. Yes, it's not keeping our starter inside the game, but Garcia does have a knack to get into the end zone. He's done it for about 2 or 3 times already this season. So even if we can't find a way to get a pass rush, like for our runners not being able to get into the goal line and say they can stop at the D line, a quarterback sneak or something isn't a bad idea. You know what I'm saying? We've seen guys like the Philadelphia Eagles constantly finding a way to push their guy over Jalen Hurts. So if we can find ways to be at least creative with Garcia and not just having him out there with 3rd and longs and things like that, I feel like that would be okay, because it still keeps consistency within our offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Mason Garcia's not here to be a package guy. I agree he'd be great, and that's how we should use him, but they're going to continue to do this whole, here's the 1st and 4th quarter, 2nd and 3rd. They're not going to do that, but they should. It'd be good. It always works. Not always, but it's really
a good percent of the time it does work. And no, I think that with this battle that they're constantly having, it puts a lot of pressure on you. Like, these guys just can't go out and play. If you're Flynn, you're thinking, okay, if I throw a pick, I'm going to get benched. He can't. That's going to impact his decision making a whole lot.
It's like the old adage: a coach can't give you confidence, but he can take it away.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I think you should just pick a starter. That's going to boost that guy's confidence, and then the rest of the team will feed off that energy.
Absolutely.
And maybe this game is the game to figure that out. Who is the starter? I think whoever. If it's a close game, which I believe it definitely will be, it's who. If we come out of this with a win, maybe that's our signal of, all right, should be the starter, and that should be the decision. Just for the rest of the season, so that, like you said, they don't have that fear in the back of their head, oh, I mess up here, I'm going to get benched.
I feel like if they don't already have a starter, it's going to be 2 quarterbacks the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because the way they're playing them right now, they're not going to be able to be like, oh, that's our guy if we win, because, well, Mason Garcia played the 1st and 4th quarter, so since he played the 4th, do we keep him? But we had the lead in 3rd when Alex Flynn was playing, so do we keep him?
Got to stick with
it's
one
a whole,
game.
rat race in your head, and that's why I say I don't care. It's exhausting.
It is.
It's exhausting. For those of you who don't know, it's exhausting being an ECU student, ECU fan. It's a full-time job. Let me tell you something.
Going gray.
But so assuming that we can get on the right track, get a win against Rice, I think that'd be big, because we also have the bye week coming into the Thursday night game against SMU. So I mean, I think we should throw everything we have in the tank. Even if guys get injured, we don't want that to happen, obviously. But we have a week of rest to have that. If guys need to recharge, and then we can get ready to go for SMU. But I think that we should open the playbook, do everything we can to win this game, and then deal with SMU for the off week.
Yeah. One thing, luckily, we don't have to worry about is our defense.
Oh yeah.
five forced fumbles against Gardner-Webb. They're looking nice right now. So that shouldn't be something to worry about.
Defense has never been the concern with ECU football. Not this season anyway. But.
No, they've done a great job creating turnovers. I mean, for the last 3 games, I just cut out the Michigan game, but all 3 they've had some big turnovers where they had a pick 6 against App State. They had a fumble where they gave us up to 5 at the Marshall at the Marshall end zone. 5 turnovers against Gardner-Webb. I mean, if our defense can keep doing that, they're going to get rewarded by the offense.
Absolutely.
It just looked like the ball just kept coming out against Gardner-Webb. I don't know if because of the rain and the conditions.
It
just looked like it just kept pausing.
Because of the weather.
We got a great grounds crew, but field conditions a bit rough. Appreciate tropical storm.
Yeah, I mean, dealing with a tropical storm, that's just, I mean, we did the right thing. We ran the ball, and we showed our might. But Gardner-Webb is just. But hey, Gardner-Webb, you want to come back next year? We'll play you. We'll play you next year. Come on in. Come on in. Well, I guess I already scheduled the games for next year, but
the 5 years. If you want to get in 5 years,
5 years. 5 years.
We'll come back.
Come on in. Come on in.
Relate it down.
Come on in down to the stadium. All right, guys. So as we start to wrap up here, looking at the rest of the season, we're going to go into American play. Who are some of our bigger opponents in conference that you think we're going to have to go against?
I feel like there's only 2, UTSA and Tulane, that are really if we want to compete. Those are the 2 we have to beat. But Navy always plays us tough. So, there's gonna be a lot of tough matchups, but I feel like there's a lot of winnable matchups as we get into conference play.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there was none before, but
we're gonna have to go at Navy, isn't that right? Yeah. So that's gonna be tough going up there in Maryland. But yeah, UTSA and Tulane, those are gonna be the 2 big ones.
Absolutely.
But I mean, we got some other games like Charlotte. I think we played Tulsa as well.
Yeah.
Those are winnable games.
It's gonna be all about confidence and just momentum leading up to those big games because the UTSA and Tulane games are back to back. The Tulane game is here in Greenville, but winning some of these conference matchups leading up to those could potentially lead to an upset, hopefully for us. Yeah. But we need to win these games to build momentum to lead there.
Right. Yeah. We got to get kind of that's why we got to win against Rice, get a good start into American play, and then hopefully SMU. SMU's a good team.
Yeah.
But we'll be here Thursday night. We'll be rocking at DFS for sure. I think we can win that game. But we'll talk about that in a future episode because that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 3 of TECspertZ. We will be back next week. You will not want to miss it. Take care.